Big halo. Do that. There you go. Okay, do have lipstick here. There we go. Hello, everybody. See who comes in. I'm having a hard time surrendering. I really am. Having a hard time just to sit and be and maybe watch a movie. I just finished because my daughter's supposed to be back today. So I'm washed all the towels, and now I've stripped the bed, and so I'm cleaning all the bedding, and I filled up all of her dispensers with soap, and I don't know, like the restlessness, like the one thing about someone would say go for a walk. Okay, I could go for a walk. Taking her dog for a walk is not an easy thing. Like it's a bigger dog. Anyways, I could do that. It's not that she's bad, but anyways, it's to get the harness on her and to get the muzzle on her. It's just a pain in the ass. I know. I could do it. I could do it. I know I could. But she's underneath the table right now with me. But and then I feel guilty about putting her in her little cagey thingy. So hello from Chilliwack. Welcome. Welcome. Woohoo. And Moose Jaw. Woo, we got Moose Jaw here in the house too. It is. It's so staying here, it's like learning how to surrender, learning how to let go. And it's a huge lesson, I feel, right?
That guy Eddie or Eddie Tracy.
All right. Just hang on. Let's see what he has to say. Hi.
Hi, do you want to be picked up right now?
No.
Okay.
Because I have the dog here, and I don't know when Olivia will be back.
Okay. No, I was just wondering because I was kind of by the area. So, no, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You could buy me a coffee and drop it off.
Well, I'm going home.
Okay.
So
all right.
You can, Dad, if you want, Dad can ask.
It's okay. Dad's going to mow the lawn.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not by you, but I'm like close, so that's why I was asking.
Okay. Thank you for asking.
Anyways, yeah. Okay. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah, I mean, he could pick me up, but then the dog would have to be in the kennel for I don't know how long. And because I'm not sure if she's coming back later tonight, later on, she hasn't messaged me back. So I don't know her 411. So that's fine. So, and I'm not one to leave a dog in a kennel for 8 hours. I mean, some people might think I'm a mean dog person, but I'm not. I'm really not. I have compassion. So for her, and that I don't mind an hour or two and stuff like that. But and the only reason why she has to be in the kennel is because she's a bad dog when nobody's here. She will eat all the garbage. She will go on the counter, and if there's a speck of food on the counter, she'll eat it. Um, she acts like she's ravished, like hungry all the time. This dog, so it's quite hilarious. And now because I'm not paying her attention, she wants outside, so I'm going to leave her outside for a bit. So there you go. So she can go outside for a while. But yeah, so the relaxing thing is something of that surrender. So, but what have I been doing? Do that when they're bored. Yeah. So, and the thing is, I know Olivia has a routine with her and to take her and stuff like that. That's great. That's great. She can do that, but not, yeah, it's just not my thing. So I've been doing, a bunch of other stuff today. And so I was going through the information of everything that I have predicted. And so far, the only thing that hasn't is the Trump thing, which is fine, you know. Um, although, that's okay. We'll leave him where he is right now. So, but we do have Neptune going retrograde coming up, and then we have Saturn, and they're both going back into Pisces. And Pisces is water. Saturn rules black oil, like it rules oil in this, the depths that comes out of the earth. Neptune rules the oceans and that, and going back into Pisces, it has to do with the water and the waterways and the ethers. So we both have them stationary right now, and they are going to be going back. So one on the 4th and one on the 12th. So what this means and what we're going to probably see is because with Saturn having to do with structures and limits, and Neptune having to do with floods, illusions, divine source, when they come together, and they're traveling in a very close orb. They're not exactly conjunct, like they're not on top of each other, but they're in about a 1 degree orb from each other. So they're going to be between a 1 to 2 degree orb. Now when you look at the planets, here we are, we're back in grade 4 science. So we have the sun, right? And then you have the planets here, and then you have Saturn is the last planet we can see. Then you have the astral belt, and then on the other side of the astral belt, you have Neptune doing its crazy radical shit. And then you have Neptune. Neptune is kind of like the gatekeeper, right? It's the gatekeeper of everything. And that's what you can look at Neptune being this gatekeeper of the worlds, right? And he's the gatekeeper within this subconscious world that we live in, because he brings in the illusions and he brings in the dreams and alike. So right now we're coming into where them traveling back into Pisces, there is a dissolution or reshaping of the collective system, especially anything tied to water. So we got a lot of things that are going to be doing about water, oil, shipping, religion, and spiritual instruction. So a lot is going to come up about, especially about religion. We're heading. I mean, we are in a religious war. We had that young rapper that came out on stage, and he's free Gaza and all this blah blah blah, and then he death to the Israeli army and the whole bit, the government, like death to Jews. And he had the whole audience chanting that, and you're just like, holy shit, it's horrendous. I don't know if I can pull it up here on my I don't think I can get Twitter on here because I have it on my phone and I don't like putting it on my, or I can just Google. It was at the Glastonbury music festival, and it's a huge festival. Like it's like really, it's the one that besides the one in the States. This is where a lot want to come in now. So this is Bob Vylan's IDF chant, and it caused quite a stir. Now the BBC decided not to stream it, which is probably a good thing. But if I can pull it up. And I can share it with you, because he really he didn't get a good reaction from people, like the whole thing about it, right? You know, Anyways, I can't get it. But anyways, so he chanted this and he had the whole audience chanting, which was not I mean, it's one thing to say free somebody, free them, free this, okay, fine, whatever. But to call to the death of a nation or call to death of anything, I think is this is where this is especially spiritually. Like we don't want you don't want to go into that vibration. You don't want to go into that. The more, the things that I've, sort of been coming across my feed because, I do rabbit holes. Rabbit holes are my hobby. I need to go to a 12-step program of I, Mary June, am a rabbit hole person. I go down rabbit holes and going down go down those rabbit holes. So anyways, um the whole thing of coming in and even with the big what's his name from Amazon, his wedding and stuff was a disaster and all this kind of stuff. It's like when I'm looking at all of these things and I really take myself out of it and I try to really do a perspective of the energies that are around it and look at the energies that are coming through there and I'm just like, wow, you see how disillusioned people are and how people have been caught up into such an illusionary energy. And I was watching a show of how to spend time, just watch the show on how to spend time on just being like and really enjoying that just being energy. And it was with this it's an older woman. I think she's in her 70s. But she even talked about her mother and her gran and how even in her life the choices that she made to be at home with her children, like she had a degree and everything else, and her parents kind of frowned on it because you're not going to be living up to the status quo and everything else. But she made a conscious decision to do home businesses and work from home. And yeah, they penny pinched and everything else, but and they may not have gone on grand holidays or holidays at all or drive-throughs and stuff like that. But they really her children say that they really were appreciative of everything that their mother did for them and was home and really loved the idea of mom being home. And for her, like the force of like, no, you got to go get out there, you got to get a job, you got to earn a living, you got to do this and you got to do that. Where back even in my mother's time, most people didn't have cars. So my mom was born in 1924 and my dad 1919. So you got to think they had to walk. And so they had to make a conscious decision of what they were going to be doing for the day or who, spending time with. Are they going to be going to Bible study or are they going to go to the knitting, and or the quilting bee or whatever it was, right? So these conscious decisions that people made of how they wanted to connect. And I feel like there's so much today that they're, and I'm looking at the energies as well of people are just like whatever kind of like and not actually doing these conscious decisions, not actually coming in and saying, yeah, this is what we are going to do. This is how we are going to connect. I'm going to make a conscious decision to meditate. I'm going to make a conscious decision to do this, right? And this is where I feel like there's just such a gap in things. And that's that gap is where the energies of negativities, the energies of I'm going to call it a succubus wants to suck your energies, right? And that's where I feel like a lot of the energies, are like wanting to suck our energies. Like they, this is how they grow. So as we're going into these as we're going into these retrogrades, this is really a time to really look at and really get into that reflection. Like for me, it's like even thinking, people are like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, and it just like drives, gets me into a panic again. But I'm really wanting to make a conscious decision of allowing ourselves to come in and being. And this is where the hardship can come in, because it's like, but you got to earn a living, you got to have money, you got to do this, and how are you going to do it? And it's just like, I really want to come into this real trust and energetic way of saying, I'm just going to trust. I really have to step into this and really do it. Right. And that can be very difficult for other people to understand. And that's the energy I'm trying to step into. And as I'm stepping into it, or trying to step into it fully, oh, it's hard. It's hard, because your mind starts to go of everything that you're supposed to be doing, or you should be doing, or how you should be um connected. How are you connecting with people? How are you, conversing? Is this something, you know it's just, the mind just goes off. It goes off, right? So this is where you got to really look into how you are wanting to step into this spiritual energies and the spiritual instructions that are coming forth, because we are in this time of rewriting. And I don't want to get into all of that rigmarole of, this is what you need to be doing, this is how you should be living. And yes, I mean, okay, I do want a chateau. I would love a chateau. But then again, I don't want the responsibility of taking care of a chateau and the upkeep of a chateau, because it's a lot. I watch these chateau people, and it is a lot to take care of a chateau. But what I would love is something very simple, and just allowing. And we're in this shifting of energies that, yeah, you can step into it, but there is a fear, because of our society and the way. But can you afford that? How can you do that? How are you going to live? How are you going to be able to feed yourself? How are you going to keep the roof over your head? And then it's just all of that, psychological um energies come in, the consciousness that comes in. So we have that, and that's going to be, we're going to find a lot more, of us exploring that, especially with Saturn and Neptune going retrograde, right? So we're going to find that. The other thing is, with them stationary, and what's going to be magnified, is that you're going to find a lot more with earthquakes, tsunamis, oceanic events, that symbolizes by the heaviness of Saturn, and Neptune, the tide. So the earth shifts, its physical and psychologically are happening. So this is where we got to, as this is happening, the loss of illusion about safety or systems, ocean related disasters, collective grief or mourning. So we're, that whole collectiveness of feeling of that, of grief, of like, why am I so sad? What's this overwhelmness? And the spiritual awakening through hardship. Like, we have to go through this crazy hardship. So a collapse and rebuild of faith, governments, and coastal cities. So historical notes is that Saturn Neptune contracts and occupied global floods. So spiritual awakening or collapses in regime based on ideology. So 1989, 1953, and 1917. All of these things happened, right? With these two crazy ones together. And we also, with that, we have Mars in Virgo, and it's with the South Node. So this is a karmic release of a warrior energy, activates violence, accidents, or militant action, wants to be of duty, wants to be of service, right? So we have this energy of Virgo that is saying, okay, how can we let that go? And how can we be of service with more of a loving kindness way? and not come into the ego-driven conflicts and the explosions that can happen with all of this. And to avoid, I would be avoiding anything to do with protesting or large crowds or any risky travel, at this time. So we have all of these things that are changing. We have all of this energy that's moving. And in between all of that, Uranus is moving into Gemini. So that's another big move. So we have this electrical energy of that switches whenever dropping from Earth, going from Earth into mutable air, like, electricity flying all over the place, right? So the clashes between traditional safety and futuristic control, right? So we have this Pluto in Aquarius that's wanting that, right? And it's getting us to really look into and look deep and deep at the powers of technology, humanity, government secrets revealed. I feel, nuclear tension, cyber war, mass surveillance, breakdown in systems that are meant to protect. And that's coming in with Pluto. We have the full moon that's coming in, and we also have that new moon. But the full moon that's coming in on the 10th, is a full moon in Capricorn. Where's my structure? How can I keep my structure? What does that structure look like? Right? And that's where, propaganda, political drama will start coming up, because it's all about the control. How can I keep this control? How can I keep this thing going with it all? And so this is where it comes in with immigration tensions, more things to do on immigration. That's an institution, right? That's a federal, that comes under government control. The flow of immigrants coming in and out of your country. It is ruled by Sagittarius, but Capricorn has the government part to it. So we have all of this that's coming up, and I feel we're feeling it as we are wanting to step into something new and transform ourselves into something new, into something that is transformational. Let me check on this dog so she's not digging. No, she's just laying there. So stepping into something that is very transformational. And I feel it's important for us to be having to be conscious of how we're stepping into this new world and this new lineup. So, yeah, kind of crazy, kind of crazy. I know it can be all over the place. I know it can be nutty. I'm starting the July summer series, and I'm very excited about it. I was supposed to meet with people today. Again, it was something that just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't work out. But the July Sacred Summer Series, if you're still on, it's $50 for the month, $75 for the 2 months. This is where we're going to be stepping into a wild expression. So bringing in the 31-day journey into emotional freedom, and adding the feminine magic. Now, how I've done this in a booklet, the booklet is like 49 pages. It's downloadable in a PDF, but setting up each week into, little journal prompts, into little magical practices, like begin a moon water jar, like fill a jar with water and place it underneath the moonlight. Start bringing that intention into what we're doing. So, July the 1st. So we look at July the 1st, it's going to be a Virgo waxing moon. So this is where it's like, okay, what are the energies I want to bring in, and bring in the chamomile. So I want to bring in calmness, the moonstone for, that connection. And this is where it's like adding my name or a word of healing to the water jar, right? So knowing that I don't have to I can come into being of service more to myself, right? So yeah, no meeting today. I didn't send out anything. And I haven't heard from anybody either because I asked if anybody was, but it's a long weekend. And yeah, I just haven't heard from anybody. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start with July and sending out messages, sending out, little recordings and stuff for people. And that's what I'm going to start doing. So sending out little recordings, sending out whatever. I don't know. I'll just do it. So and doing that. So that's the thing. That's when I'm going to do it. So but it's and then I just decide to do this in between everything. I was like, oh, let's go on live. But I feel like the frequencies are really getting us to push towards a real spiritual alignment in some form for ourselves and come into that. And this is where we have to really start to watch our words, watch what, how we are connecting with people and the whole bit, and especially with the retrogrades and the changes that are coming forward. Yeah. So that's it. That's all there is. That's, bringing in a lot of the predictions. I can see them starting to unfold right now, and they're happening before our very eyes. Uh, the new moon that'll come um, in Leo. So we're going to have a new moon in Leo, and it's going to be opposite Pluto. So we're going to have a new moon opposition with Pluto. So from Cancer, we go into Leo. So with that new moon in Leo energy. And so that's going to be bringing in, I feel, the new moon's going to be very emotional. Our full moon is going to trigger a lot of things to do with expansion, and righteousness are going to be lit up. So things, so a lot of talk. But then in between all of this, we got Mercury that's going to be going retrograde. So Mercury retrograde will begin on July 18th. So we have Mercury retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde in Leo. So again, this is really, it's activating things. It could activate our ego, our anger, how we're not communicating the way that we want to. The words aren't coming out the way that we would like them to come out. So, but the financial forecast, right? So major, I think there's going to be a stalling when it comes to the markets or crashing market. Global economic dips. I feel more with what Carney's doing, and without a budget, I think there's going to be a lot of craziness when it comes to spending, cryptocurrency or tech instability, commodities like oil and food prices spiking. And we're going to start seeing more of that during the summertime, and then of course into the fall. Right now, they're having a water shortage with the farmers, like some of the farmers, because it's been so hot. It's been getting hot in many places, so they're saying heat wave and things like that. So whatever excuse they can give us. So I think there's going to be definitely expect. Oh, I need a coffee. I couldn't get oh man, I want a coffee so bad. Oh, there's no coffee here. That's why I asked him to get me a coffee, but I have no coffee here. And do I want to order a coffee? Oh my God. And there's nowhere close to just walk where she lives. So it's like I can't just walk over to the nearest Starbucks. I mean, well, I could, but it would it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 8 or 9 blocks away. I know. People are saying, well, get off your ass, Mary. You could do it. You could do it. Yes, I know I could do it. So, but it is a ways away. So yeah, so coffee coffee. So I might be ordering a coffee. See, that's the other thing that it wouldn't have been anything just to go for a coffee. It wouldn't be anything just to go and just go and walk. But yeah, anyways, not into it. Plus, I've been up early. I've been up early every morning. So this morning, I really made a tea and went and sat back in bed and did the meditation and not forcing myself to get up and get going. That was the big thing. So I didn't want to force myself to get up and get going. So I really, sometimes when I look at my kids, they can relax. They can just sort of sit back and not do shit. So I don't know. But anyways, so I think that's all for me right now. I'm gonna figure out what else I can be doing and figure out getting myself a cup of coffee because I can feel my energy sort of like boom with it. Plus, I love having coffee. I love to sit and have a coffee. Look at me. I'm just yawning away with it. So, anyways, well, you guys know about my sale. My readings are on sale right now. And if you want 5 moon readings for the summer, that's on sale. And so just DM me if you want any information. What a good promotion. Right out there, Mary. You just do it. You go get her, girl. So you guys have a great day. I'm going to figure out my coffee situation here. That's my priority. So have a blessed one. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.